valuable, what we're doing right now. It's history in the making.
Yep, we're on. We're recording.
We're recording right now?
We are absolutely recording. Hi, this is Ty, the voice guy, and I'm hanging out with the one, the only Candice Marshall from Starlight Music Chronicles up in Canada, Edmonton to be exact. And how are you doing today, Candice?
I'm doing fabulous. Ty, how are you?
I'm not sure yet. It's been a long evening, but we won't go into that. What do you have coming up that the listeners, the people out there, can look forward to that's going to pique interest and have them just go wow? The wow factor for Starlight Music Chronicles. For now, we'll kind of shorten that up and call it SMC, which I really like. So what's happening down there at SMC?
At SMC, well, that's a great acronym. We've actually intentionally put that as a hashtag, an official hashtag on our Twitter. So that's really cool that you've referred to us as that, kind of like the NME thing. So what's happening? We've got some really, really cool stuff coming up. We've got yourself with your new radio which will be both live and recorded.
I know.
So, we're going to have a page on our website for that. It's going to be beautifully done. We're going to have some graphics, so very appealing to the eye. We're going to the recorded broadcasts are going to have some really nice visual on your page as well, which would be in the form of a YouTube link connected to Starlight Music Chronicles YouTube channel, which we literally just started really getting back into, something we touched on a few years ago. But since you've come on board, we feel it's a very valuable asset to add to our Starlight Music Chronicles website. So the YouTube channel is going to be more active. We also have our Hollywood girl, Verena. She's based out of Los Angeles, and she's going to be giving us, she's from actually Austria, and she landed in Hollywood not too long ago, and she's been doing a lot of behind the scenes. She's been connected to me through a very good friend of mine, and she plans to write for our magazine as well. So she's going to give us a European perspective on what it's like in the film industry as an actress and film director. She works with that, and she also blogs. So she's an amazing writer, very brilliant. So I feel that both are going to be very key components, because with yourself, Ty, with your voice acting, we've already launched the Christopher Walken 30-second clip, and that maybe it was 15 seconds, I think. Just amazing. Everybody went nuts over it. So we're very excited about having you on here just to add that extra bit of flair, which is really what we are. Like, we're a Starlight Music Chronicles family. There's a team of us that are just so connected, and we do a lot of really cool stuff together. So,
well, fantastic. Yeah. And I think, hopefully listeners and followers of both the YouTube and, of course, of your podcast, of everything that goes on with Starlight, is going to be excited about this. It's something new. It's something interesting. Now let's get some but let's get some background on you. Where were you born? Where did you grow up? And what got you into this? We'll just kind of go with those three questions.
Oh my goodness, you're going to go into that, are you?
Well, we have to. We have to. The listeners want to know. They really do. They want to know badly. They were talking to me and they were saying, Christopher, I want to know badly. So let's find out.
Oh, that's great. And I could turn this around and make it an interview about you.
You could, by all means. I'm never never at a loss for
us to introduce you.
Words.
Back and forth.
And there's nothing wrong with that, and that's actually kind of a cool little way to go with things. Is doing that, because maybe the person I'm interviewing wants to know something about me, and I'm more than happy to open up. So it could be a different kind of radio interview kind of show, But we do want to know about you, because you were the person that has given me this opportunity and given me this chance. And I put my hands together and I say thank you, because I truly mean it, and I'm truly happy with being with the Starlight Music Chronicle family. You've invited me in. You've made me feel welcome. We've had some talks before which have been heartwarming to me, yes, and have choked me up. I'll be the first to admit that. I am an emotional person. I'm more like Kirk than Spock. So
Yeah, that's why you sit with us. I mean, Ty, myself, you've asked the question, I'll answer that, and I'll say that, since I was very, very young, a lot of people would call me a dreamer, and while that may be true, I'm also a realist, and in the last 5 years, I'd say 3 to 5 years especially, there have been a lot of things that have really affected me in my life. I mean, I'm originally from Edmonton, Alberta area. I moved to northern BC for a time where I really got a good grasp of how to write in journalism. I worked at the local newspaper in a small mining community, and it was an outdoor music festival that I got to meet some really cool who are now really big artists such as Headley, and at the time they were just really, really starting to take off, and it was such an amazing experience knowing that these people were really real behind the scenes. As like when you go to a concert, you see these people on stage, and you're just like, wow, and it's the lights, it's the glamour, but behind the scenes, they're real too. They were playing with my son's soccer ball and having a soccer game backstage. Like it was great. And it was then that I decided, this is a really interesting subject. Maybe I'll get back to it one day. Began to work, do a little bit more with the regional newspaper. And in that time, my mother had passed away in 2008, and it really taught me a lot because my mother was very innovative. She had her own business. She taught me that you could take something out of nothing and turn it into something pretty big, and she did. She had 15 years in her own business, and she was very successful within her industry. And to me, that was she set a huge example for me to really go and achieve what I can. So, it's just kind of, after she passed away, it was really tough, but, I decided it was time to move back to a larger community, back to my roots, came back to Alberta in 2010, did a couple of graphics and desk jobs, and I just thought, no, this isn't for me either. So I started getting creative. I started blogging, I started writing with the encouragement of my friend Craig Leibel, who is actually a book author. He and I went to junior high school together, and he was so encouraging. He just said, you really need to be writing. And so I started to, and it at first was a fitness blog because I love to run. And soon after that, I started getting into fashion because it just kind of, the two worlds were starting to collide. And then, of course, into photography and doing a lot of behind the scenes with photographers, local photographers here in Edmonton. And then it just, boom, next thing you know, I was having an interview with my first music artist here in Edmonton, which was Rachel Losnow. And she's been on a previous radio show that we were on recently. So, it just kind of got from there, and I kept writing. And I finally decided, okay, to take it a step further and launch a website, which we did on May 27th, 2015. And then maybe 4 or 5 months later, it was October 27th, I think, that we launched the first ever magazine for our website. So we are now known as a magazine and entertainment website. So there's a lot of components that are happening, and it does go back to the fact that as far as the being the dreamer and the realist, I've always been able to think outside the box. There's never any boundaries for me. I feel boundaries are too constricting. But then being the realist is that it has to be put into a business plan. It needs to be harnessed. There are people on this team that are just so talented and so incredible, yourself included. And I just think that it's a huge loss for any industry to just walk away from someone who has that and say, no, I'm sorry, you don't have a chance, or you don't get the opportunity to, write for my website or magazine. I mean, obviously we have to be discerning with that, but and with that being said, I'm very happy to have a team that's very supportive of my dream, and that dream is to become one of the biggest entertainment websites and magazines in the world. Period.
Fantastic. I love that idea. Hold on a second.
That's it.
Round of applause there for that comment there from Candice. Just got the crowd here in the background, and I always like to invite them in and have them get a little applause for that. So let's get back into it.
Awesome. I'm sorry, I had my sound shut off for just a second because I was getting messages from my Facebook and people are blaming me. And
that's okay, because welcome to the 21st century, and welcome to mass media and to social media. And I'll be the first one to step up to the plate. Everything that I'm basically doing has really happened within the last 2 or 3 years for me. I was never a social media person. I finally have gotten myself on Twitter. I have my own, of course, Ty the Voice Guy page on Facebook. So social media and what you're doing is incredible. It's great to have a magazine that can be viewed throughout the world, and it's to me, being the old man that I am, it's, I still remember having a rotary dial phone stuck on the wall, Hey,
don't laugh, I do too. It's okay. No, I agree with that. When we say that we are a magazine, it seems so limiting. It's like saying, we only do this, and that's not what Starlight Music Chronicles is. We are so multifaceted and have so much opportunity for artists to have really good coverage, and that is in the way of our Artist of the Month competitions. You can hear my ding. They
next time I interview you, you better have that phone off. I swear, you better have that phone off.
My phone
is that your computer?
That's my computer, yeah. If I shut the sound off, then I can't hear you talking, and that's not good.
No, that's sometimes good, and a lot of people would probably say, yeah, that is pretty cool to just silence Ty. So it's all right.
So going back to what we were talking about, it's just having that. What were we talking about?
We were talking about we were talking about how it's more than a magazine, and I was going to say to that is there's got to be another name for it, like a multi-zine or something, because online magazine doesn't really cover what Starlight Music Chronicles is about and what you guys do,
Well, which is why I've just recently updated the branding for our website. I mean, we've been Starlight Music Chronicles for a long time, but because we're adding a fashion component, a lifestyle component, film, like movies, those industries in congruence with Starlight Music Chronicles as the main hub, and then taking it a step further and making the website so entertaining with, Paris is going to be doing some film, like he's recording and filming some short films as well as a series. So that's going to be appearing on our website. We have yourself with our radio show here that's going to be on the website and live and as well as recorded. Then we have all of these other components. We have the Teen Beat, which is written by Bailey Dunbar, which is live on our website. We have so many, and then of course our Hollywood Girl, so many components. So when we do the branding, we say it's magazine and entertainment website.
Yeah.
However we go from there, it's consistently and constantly evolving. And if we go a step further to say that, who knows? The possibilities are endless with all of it.
But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's Okay, no.
But of
go
course,
ahead.
it had to start out somewhere, and I really like the name Starlight Music Chronicles. I really like that. But you are right; it is venturing forth
No.
into so many more things.
Well, I have to give credit. I absolutely have to give credit to my friend, my very good friend Stephanie Rachel. She has been manager for Palais Royale for quite some time, and she's a very good friend of mine. And she and I really, really brainstormed this last February, actually, of 2015, and she gave me the image of the star that's on our front page, and said, let's use this to kind of build your graphics around, which I did. And then she and we brainstormed on the name, and I said I really like Starlight because of Johnny Marr. And I met Johnny Marr, the guitarist from the Smiths, here in Edmonton in December of 2014. He played here at the Starlight Room. So for me, that was a very memorable night because his performance was absolutely outstanding. First time he ever performed I Feel You by Depeche Mode was that night. Then he went on to record it. Just an amazing performer, and left me in such awe that I knew that somehow Starlight felt differently this time. The actual Starlight, not L-I-T-E, it's L-I-G-H-T is what we are. I knew it had to be incorporated into the name. So she said, you need something vintage, which is how we got the Chronicles, and of course music. So it just came to be, Starlight Music Chronicles. And, I worked hard building all the graphics. So they're all on our website, are built from scratch. There's no templates whatsoever. It's all done by hand, by yours truly. And then we came out and launched the website on the 27th of May. And so in a very short time, we went from first conception to actual execution. And from May till now, almost a year later, we've completely updated the branding and evolved as a magazine into an entertainment website where it's multifaceted. So a year from now, who knows? It's going to be nuts.
You could,
So,
yeah. I was almost thinking, Starlight Times, But that's what I liked about we had talked about that before, is the name Starlight, and we both definitely didn't associate it with stars in the sky, but with more of a stage kind of lighting thing, which I've always really been into kind of the lighting. I've been a stagehand. I was a DJ for 25 plus years. I was on-air personality in talk radio, news radio, rock and roll country, and that's what I associate with Starlight, And so that's what I really, really dug when we talked about that. How you also kind of associate it with the way the lights are on a stage, which is really awesome. It's groovy, and I dig that.
that's awesome. Thank you. But then I have a question for you.
Sure.
How did you go from all of those things into the voice acting? Is that something you've always done, or?
We're going to do that, and I'll go. It starts at probably when I was really young, 7 years old, 6 years old. My stepbrother was really into science fiction, into cartoons and animation and stuff like that. And my first real step into voicing was doing voices from Looney Tunes and the Warner Brothers cartoons and Yogi Bear and those types of characters. And I'd do them at school. And, of course, I'd get in trouble at school for doing them. But, it was an entertainment thing, and it was nice to make people smile and laugh. And it just kind of stuck with me. It was never anything professional until like 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, where I actually had a job and I wasn't happy with the job. And I had Danny Bonaducci, who now does a radio show here in Seattle, has been here for a while. I kind of sent in some information to him, and he had me on the air, and I ended up doing I quit my job, and I ended up the next day doing a commercial for them for a truck dealership in Tacoma. And I wasn't working directly with Danny, but I mean, I talked to him on the phone and stuff. And, I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And so it is morphed into, doing whatever I can as far as using the talent that I have finally in my life. And I don't get paid for a lot of it. That's okay. It's experience, and I love what I do. I love the voices. I can't do kid voices. I have a very baritone, low, kind of scratchy, gravelly, voice, and I'm on the lower end. But whatever I can dip my fingers in and use my voice for, I do it. There's people on Facebook that are asking me to do voices for Minecraft movies that they do at home, or do with friends. And I've done work for Minecraft movies in Europe, and I've done some commercial. I'm right now working on a couple of different animated projects. One with a gentleman in England, Zeke, that I get along with him and his family through Skype. Really cool. We've bonded, and his motion animation series is going to be very adult oriented. But I'm working on that with him. I'm working with a couple of gentlemen, one in the Midwest and one on the East Coast, that's putting together a kids animation show that I feel could be seen on Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, and it's just one of those you have to sell it. And so I'm doing a few voices on there, but I try to do voiceovers. I'm not really a voiceover person. I'm more of a voice actor, but I have my agent, and I put out I have auditions, a couple, 3 times a month. And so it started as a kid, and it's morphed into what it is today. I primarily do, I've done a lot of my Christopher Walken impersonation.
Which love they got a huge ratings when first launched on our Facebook page. Kind of a shame now that I think about it. I think we might have been, yes, we garnered the social media blast, but sometimes it's nice to be able to promote it through a YouTube channel simply because of the shareability. But obviously with sharing it on Facebook is fine too. But if you're just limited to Facebook, so I think going forward it'll be nice for us to launch this on our YouTube channel. Yeah,
we'll get there, and I strive to do better for myself as far as the voice acting goes, and better myself and have better demos and impersonation demos. And it's kind of hard for me because here's my little background. It'll be 10 years that I've been married to my wife in May. We have 2 children. I have other boys through other relationships. But I have a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I'm going to be level 50 this year. I don't say years anymore. I'm leveling up. So I have a limited amount of time to really do this, to record. I love to spend time with my family, and I have other things going on outside of my of home that I do. And so I have my little bit of time where I can get my 2-year-old to sleep during the day, and I can record for that amount of time, and then I get the family to bed, and then I can record at night too. So, it's harder work than people think. I'm a stay-at-home dad. That's harder work than I ever thought it was going to be, but so rewarding. And my voice work, so rewarding when I have people call me and want to use me for that. And I do occasionally, do on-camera work, and someday I'm sure you're going to post my picture, and yeah. I'm a very rough-looking individual. I've aged roughly, but I am who I am, and well,
fine. I think you've got an awesome character and personality with your look, and I think that it's just perfect for what we're looking for in terms of individuality.
Yeah.
Or let's face it, we have rock and roll on our Facebook and on our website. If you look at some of the people that have been in the industry for quite a few years, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Keith Richards, number one, is who I think about. It's like, it's rock and roll,
So. No, I wasn't using a Keith Richards analogy.
I don't have crow's feet. I have murder of crow's feet.
Murder of crow's feet, nice. Well, I was just gonna say that, you know, when we look at all of the contributors for the website, the magazine, and now the pages on the website, each one of you have so diverse personalities. Like if we go from, let's see, we have Randy who's a musician. I mean, that's his primary bread and butter. That's who he is. He's a musician at Barley Station. And then we go to, say, Verena, who's in Hollywood, who's doing film, and then yourself, who's, in Washington and doing something totally different. Like, the diversity is so awesome. And it is so much, I mean, if anybody has ever known me my whole life, they would know that that's truly who I am and what I represent, because we also have our affiliates, which are Morgan's Mission, uh, Live for Tay, and Project Cuddle, totally diverse, nonprofit organizations that we support as well, and that's huge.
Yeah, exactly. That's a beautiful thing that you're doing. It truly is, and not a lot of magazines or publications or even online magazines are doing that, and it's getting involved with not only your community but with projects that need to be put out in the forefront, need to be seen and need to be heard. So
yeah, Ty, and that's another facet of, when we go into the history of how this came to be, is that I was the girl who didn't really want, terrified of spiders, but didn't really want to kill them. And one day decided to have a funeral for it. Like, that's just kind of, and I look at that, I know, right? And I look at that and I think,
the crowd loves it. They love it. They're going crazy here. All right, guys, quiet down. Thank you.
Well, I can't go and take that part away from myself.
Yeah.
I can edit myself. I can edit my articles. I can edit all of these sorts of things to make our magazine look very streamlined and, very congruent. But in terms of how we want to present ourselves, I cannot edit that, because then you lose yourself. And who I am and my team, who they are people with very, very, very generous hearts, who are very personable, who are very approachable, who are very professional, and taking that and rolling it up into a nice ball and saying, this is who we are, this is what we've got, and this is who we represent. It also means bringing in those nonprofit organizations, because, I mean, we're talking with one that has hit close to home. I lost my cousin to suicide when he was only 18. And, so of course Morgan's Mission makes sense to have on board. I have personally myself miscarried with a child, several years back. So Project Cuddle is very important to me.
Yeah.
Live for Tay, I lost my godmother to cancer. She was only 44. And, that was, all of these things are things that are very passionate for me.
Yeah.
My next thing that I would like to support would be something with multiple sclerosis or diabetes, because my mother was diabetic and my sister has MS. So these are just organizations that I think that should be brought to the forefront, and not a lot, you're right, not a lot of magazines or entertainment websites will look at that. They'll, they want to get to the glitz and the glamour and the gossip.
Yeah.
What? Well, I'd like to eliminate the gossip.
We're down to about 25 seconds left on the recording here. Do you have anything else that you want to tell anybody in 20 seconds?
Welcome aboard, Ty. We are excited to have you on, and we're looking forward to doing more shows with you.
Oh, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Candice Marshall from the one, the only Starlight Music Chronicles. Hope you guys enjoyed listening. We'll be back for more. Have a great day. Have a great evening. Long days and pleasant nights.